Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Champagne Wives podcast. I'm your host, Kelly.
And I'm your co-host, Nicole. Hey, Cal.
Hi, boo.
So far.
I know,
So
but for a good
far.
reason.
I know.
And I'm laughing and I'm smiling for a good reason.
Mhm.
Because
Why?
we have a very special guest,
And do.
a longtime friend of mine and friend to the show, Adam Nelson
Hi guys.
of
How you
Culturally Distinct Podcast.
Where's the button we can press for the applause? Shh, yay!
Yeah,
Cling, welcome.
Okay. Welcome, Adam. So
doing? Hey guys.
This has been a long time coming.
it has been. It
A
has
long
been.
time
So
coming.
I know your listeners know our story, and
Mhm.
a lot of our listeners know as well. But for the new listeners or the listeners who may not necessarily know the relational dynamic, Adam is a huge part of how we got started with podcasting. He and I are really good friends. We go way back to college. I think it's been 20
Carry
years.
one.
Carry the one. Yeah. It's been a long time since we've known each other. So he's more like family at this point. And so when Nicole and I started this journey of podcasting, Adam was already in it. He was doing the damn thing. He had a studio and a whole setup. And so he was able to help Nicole and I get our foot in the door and navigate this podcasting world. And so welcome Adam to the show.
Yay!
This is actually our first time having Adam on this show.
Right. Like we always go to him,
Yes.
and it's like he is in studio with us.
This is the first time that you've been here. So Adam,
Yes.
go ahead on and tell the people who you are, about yourself, and about your podcast.
Well, like you said, my name is Adam Nelson. I'm an important person, but I'm not important to your viewers. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause you guys are wives, and I'm a man. So my perspectives might
And
be
you're
a little.
a husband.
And a husband.
Mhm.
And my perspective might be a little different, but first of all, I'd like to say thank you guys for allowing me to be on the show. This is a special honor that you guys privileged me with, and I appreciate it. It's gonna be a great show. But to your question, man, I'm just a normal person. Like you said, I got into this podcast journey 3 years ago during the pandemic. It was a dream of mine. My mission and my goal is to educate our people in different ways where we could advance each other in our community. And you guys been guests on my show a couple of times. Like you said, me and Kelly been friends 20 plus years. 20 plus years. So
Mhm.
y'all know her age.
I've been knowing him since I was 6.
Y'all know her age. So yeah, but that's just in a nutshell. That's all I have. I've been in Houston almost 12 years, I believe.
That's it.
12 years.
Oh, we
and,
came around the same time.
Yeah. So I'm a Houstonian now.
Right.
Originally from New Orleans. Shout out New Orleans.
Whoop, whoop.
Crawfish is $15 a pound, but don't worry about it. It's
We still
gonna
gonna
go
eat
down.
it.
Right.
We still gonna
It's
eat
a
it.
delicacy at this
It
point.
is exactly.
yeah, but
exactly.
yeah, but that's pretty much it is about myself. How you guys doing?
We're doing good, and
Good.
we're great. We're happy to have you here.
Yes,
And
thank
you
you.
know, Adam is. We always talk to Adam. We have like a 3-way group chat between all of us, and we keep in touch all the time. And so one day he was just like, "Y'all need to have me on y'all podcast," and I was just like, "Oh shit!" Like
Actually, we do.
Actually, we do
Yeah.
because it never dawned on me because we are around him so much. We speak so much.
Yeah.
He's so involved in what we do and we support each other that it hadn't dawned on me that he hadn't actually, I mean, he's been to the studio. Remember you
Mhm.
came here to see our new digs.
Yep.
So it never really dawned on me that we had not had him on the show.
in a chair.
As a guest on the show. And
Shame
so
on us.
What are friends
it's
for?
very
What are
shady.
friends for?
Shame on us.
But you're here now.
Right.
I'm
We're
here
gonna make
now.
the most.
We're gonna
of
make it. Oh, we're gonna definitely make a most
Yes.
of it.
Okay, so you're gonna just be a part of this.
Yes.
You got a glass.
I have a glass.
What's in your glass?
This is champagne.
Okay.
It might have a little twist to it, but
Okay, champagne with a twist.
Champagne with a
okay,
twist.
we love it.
Absolutely.
So this is the part where we kind of do a little catch up. We talk
Okay.
about the weekend. How was it?
Mhm.
So we'll start with you. How was your weekend?
Weekend. I was actually in New Orleans this weekend.
Okay.
It was an unfortunate circumstance. I had a funeral I had to attend.
Sorry to hear
But
that.
for the most part, every time I go home to New Orleans, it's a party. I'm still
Yeah.
exhausted from Mardi Gras. Shout out to Mardi Gras.
Shout out to Mardi Gras.
You know what I'm saying? I was there for a week and we had a great time. I got a chance to see Kelly and them. and the family. Some more friends and family that I haven't seen in a while. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's basically what I did this weekend. What about you guys?
So I was telling Nicole, because I was at Mardi Gras as well. Nicole was supposed to come, but she wasn't able to join me this year. That Mardi Gras is just so much fun, and it's a total vibe. And I mentioned that it's my favorite holiday. And so I told her, she's
Really?
like, favorite holiday? Ha
Really?
ha ha. And she was like, no, but a lot of people from Louisiana consider Mardi Gras as
Holiday.
like their favorite holiday. Like, once Christmas and New Year's wraps,
Right.
like people start to look forward to Mardi Gras. And it's just such a fun time of everybody just, I've been going obviously for my entire life, but every year I go is always so much fun. Like
Yeah.
the fun never
It is.
fades for me. And I feel like people from Louisiana, like we continuously go back to have a good time. And so we did run into Adam.
Mhm.
He has a block party every year for the
yeah.
Endymion Parade, which is on Saturday, which is really nice. And so we did run into each other, hung out with each other actually a couple of times
Yeah.
during the weekend. But so is it not your favorite holiday? You being from New
No,
Orleans?
well, not my favorite holiday.
Leading the witness,
No,
Your
no.
Honor.
So the best thing about Mardi Gras, like especially in Louisiana, they get out for a week. The kids.
The kids,
They
yeah.
out for a whole week because in Louisiana it's a holiday. But for Mardi Gras, I think the most important thing that I like about it, the camaraderie, especially during Zulu. Zulu, they have, for those who are not familiar
Yes,
with
please, school us.
New Orleans and the balls and the parades, Zulu have an actual parade. Zulu is basically an all-black community parade where they have a ball on Friday night, and on Tuesday, actually Mardi Gras Day, they have an actual parade that was specialized directly for us, Black people. So that's the good part about the camaraderie, the family, the friends, little kids growing up, learning the customs and the culture. And then after hours, the Negroes get out of line, but what it is. But
That's the fun in it. That's
That
the
is.
fun of it. I mean, even
Yeah.
throughout the day, like I was explaining to Nicole, it's just like it's just dancing in the street. You talk about camaraderie, but it's not only just with, Black people, it's with everybody,
Yeah.
like Black people, white people alike. And it's just like I'm online and on like socials, you can see like the parade footage from like Lafayette and some
Yeah.
of the surrounding
Yeah,
cities
Baton
where you
Rouge and
see
stuff,
Baton
yeah.
Rouge, where you see like white people jam it out to like Boosie and all of like the music. So
Shout
the
out Boosie.
culture is, I always talk about the culture, but the culture
Shout
is just so deep.
Mhm.
And you're right, Mardi Gras does bring out a sense
Yes.
of camaraderie
Mm.
with, amongst Black people, but really amongst all people in Louisiana. So can't say enough about it, but I'll stop there because we don't want to get
I
into
feel the passion.
yeah,
I feel
you
the
feel
passion.
that,
Right.
exactly, because this is not an episode on Mardi Gras. So.
Next year.
All right, next time. But
Yeah.
Nicole, how was your weekend?
Oh, it was great. It was great. Yeah, I
You have a tan.
Oh, that's right.
A nice little
Oh.
Do I have a
bronze
glow?
glow. Yes.
yeah, no,
a
I
goddess glow.
had a nice little vacation.
Vacation. Ooh.
Yeah, just nice little getaway to Mexico, to Cancun. And I was telling people at work because they're like, "Oh, where are you going?" And I was like, "I was quick getaway to Cancun." It's like Cancun's like our Miami. Like it's actually closer for us to travel to Cancun and to get the beautiful waters than it is for us to travel to Miami. Now, granted, you get a whole lot with Miami, right? Like it's international feel, all that stuff. But I was like, it's an hour and a half flight from Houston. We can go. But had a lovely, lovely, lovely time with my man, as I like to call him.
Uh-oh.
And
Talk about it. Talk about
we
it.
don't. We basically stopped there.
Okay.
That's it.
Right, that's it. And it was just, it was a great time, great property, great food, great champagne. If you're a subscriber, you'll see that we had some content posted from the trip. So if you're trying to see some BTS behind the scenes, make sure you subscribe to our Champagne Wise Insta page. But yeah, it was a great weekend.
That's a good little plug.
It was a great weekend.
Awesome. You're glowing, sis.
I see.
You're
Thanks.
glowing.
I mean, it was like 80 something degrees, and I actually had a day where I was in the sun all day with like, I never thought I'd be the girl that does this, but like with bronzing cream, not with like a little bit of SPF. I always hide from the sun. I
You
can't
do.
bear no
I was about to say,
umbrella.
when I travel with you, you're the one with the big brim
The
hat.
big brim hat. But yeah, no, I was like, okay, let me see what this is about. And it was this bronzing cream and a whole day just in the sun, and it was perfect. So.
You look beautiful, sis.
Thank you, babe.
They say love makes you glow.
So how was your
Happiness does.
Happiness does.
Happiness definitely
Moving in your
makes you glow.
purpose does.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that makes you
I
glow.
like it. I like it.
Self-fulfillment.
I love it.
It was good. I mean, look, coming off of Mardi Gras, which was
Mhm.
like a good 4 or 5 day bender, I really enjoyed the pleasantries of not doing much. I
Mhm.
mean, obviously, I have kids, so that requires like some level of movement. But it was not anything crazy. We just kind of did like laid back family things all weekend. So it was
Okay.
chill. It was good.
A
was good.
recovery
Yeah,
weekend.
recovery weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we got the pleasantries out of the way. Today, we are talking about underrated traits
Mm.
that people.
And that was a big gulp.
I know.
He was like,
Golly.
"Wait."
I'm like,
That's
some
champagne, I
water.
tell you.
Right.
So we're going to talk about underrated traits that people oftentimes overlook
Okay.
when attracting a partner. I don't like to say when looking for a partner because
Yeah.
I just feel like that spits in the face of all of our I don't chase, I attract mantra. But underrated traits that people tend to overlook when attracting a partner. And who else other than Mr. Culturally Distinct
Hey.
himself to contribute to this conversation?
hmm
The Instagrams, the TikToks, the Facebooks, if you're on it, will the X's, formerly known as Twitter, will have you thinking that like we all need to be looking for ABC and XYZ, and a
Mhm.
lot of that is very superficial, in my opinion, a scratch of the surface. But when we talk about, you love to use this phrase, staying power in a
Mhm.
partner, or when we talk about relationship longevity, what are some of those traits that we tend to overlook that are really important and really meaningful and necessary for relationship longevity and for a healthy relationship? So that's what we're going to talk
Longevity.
about today.
Wow.
It's good to have a
Yeah.
male perspective. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Mr. Culturally Distinct.
yeah, I'm really interested in your
Mhm.
perspective and your point of view because obviously Nicole and I, we are women and
Mhm.
we vibe on the same frequency. We don't, it's not a monolithic relationship,
Mhm.
but I mean, obviously we're both women,
Right.
and we kind of think along the same lines, and so
Mhm.
I'm really interested to hear your perspective.
Yeah.
One, because you're a male, and two, because you say out your mouth what people are thinking. Right.
Wild and outlandish.
Right. Outlandish
Yes.
shit.
But
Every time.
yeah, so it's a two-way street, right? So like you said, you guys are females and I'm a male. And then I'm gonna go a step further. You guys are black females
Mhm.
because I can't put, every female in the same category. Black females have a different outlook. So
Mhm.
you said something earlier about Instagram, social media. A lot of people think that people are influenced by social media. Some. I think this is my opinion. I think it's maybe 15 to 20% of people that's influenced by social media.
Hmm.
That's my opinion. I think they have a lot of wholesome women out here that's doing the right thing. That's, what I'm saying, that's being good women.
Wholesome.
Wholesome. I said wholesome.
Look
What is this, Doc? The
I gotta-
60s?
I'm saying I'm not
Wholesome.
I'm not saying like wholesome like when you
Okay.
wearing a long dress and you're obedient. I'm saying you're doing the things necessary to keep a relationship, to keep a man.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying, which is overlooked right now. But to answer your question, so I did some research, right? I wasn't prepared for this question, so I had to do some research about, to the question,
To the topic.
to the topic.
Mhm.
So I have 5 characteristics that I named. One is humility, right?
Mhm.
That's one thing that I think that a lot of people don't have going into relationships.
Mhm.
Mhm.
They're not humble. When I say not humble, they're not willing to be having an open mind towards
Mhm.
certain things,
Mhm.
right? See if they get cheated on.
Here we go.
Well, it happens. See if they get cheated on.
Mhm.
They're not open to say, okay, well, he cheated on me, right? Not physically, but might be spiritually, or might be
Micro cheating, as they are now calling it.
yeah.
Uh-huh.
He might be stepping out talking to another woman, right?
Emotionally cheating.
Emotionally.
Cheating is cheating.
No, I ain't gonna say that. That's a whole nother topic.
But cheating is
But that
cheating.
is the topic. Cheating is
All right.
cheating. Making yourself available to other people.
What is your definition of cheating?
Oh
Or
my.
is it just
So I want to finish this, but
Okay, go ahead.
finish
let me go
finish
back
it.
because I have
Okay.
that. I have that. So
Okay.
humility is one.
Okay,
Okay, but
we're not
why,
gonna go through the
why
whole
does the
list.
woman have
okay.
to have?
I'm gonna go to number 2.
But
That's
not
it.
yet, though.
But-
Not yet,
because I got
you got a
follow-up.
question. I got to
Yeah.
follow
Okay,
up too.
go ahead.
Humility. So why? I don't understand. Like, why the other person has to have humility coming into a situation where they're being cheated on?
Well, it goes both ways.
So what?
I'm just talking from a man's point of view.
Right.
So you want a woman to have humility. So
Absolutely.
If you,
And when you say
Absolutely.
humility, and I don't think you finished the thought here, but when
Correct.
you say humility, you mean like a woman has to ask herself, is there anything that I did to contribute to this or to cause this? Like, if I'm not, like, I just saw on Instagram
part
that
of
there's
it.
a man who divorced his wife because she was on a sex
oh,
strike, right?
yes. Sex
That's
2 times
yeah,
in
2
like
times in
12 years?
In like a
Oh,
year.
2 years? Okay, never
In a
mind.
year. But
Wrong
like, but
numbers.
still, I mean, 12 to
Okay,
6 and a half dozen at this point.
So compromise is part of that,
Okay.
right? Having humility. A lot of people do not know how to compromise. And my third one on that is self-accountability. A lot of people be at fault. They're not willing to say they're at fault. So where's the humility to that?
That's self-reflection.
You know, no, it's self-accountability. That's what it is. Reflection is you know what you're doing, so you admit it. Accountability is more of,
That's accountability.
I messed up. It was my fault. The reason why you did X, Y, and Z, I could understand that because I was kind of a little
But
harsh.
you need to be self-reflective to take accountability.
to understand, yes.
Yes.
No,
That's fair.
but okay, but
Okay.
no, Adam.
Let's go talk about it.
Because you cannot blame someone else's bad
Indiscretion or
behavior
transgression.
on their partner.
True.
Like, no, like we're all adults here and we take accountability for our actions.
Hmm. Do we?
We
need
should.
to.
Okay.
We should. And so if you're not happy in a relationship or you have a partner who is not taking accountability for their role in the relationship, then the answer is not to step out at that point. Like at that point, the other person who wants to step out, who is stepping out, needs to take accountability for their actions and kind of take inventory on how they've shown up as a partner
Mhm.
and have they communicated? Have they, turned inward instead of outward
Right.
Okay.
in the relationship?
That's fair.
Okay, so
That's fair.
you-
But on the other hand, what we talking about reality, and you guys know as well as I do, they have a lot of situations where, and this goes both ways, that a lot of people step out because of that reason. They're not accountable. It's so easy to say I'm sorry,
That's a
but it's
song.
so hard to say I'm sorry. And with a man, if a woman is doing like, say she has a certain behavior for so long, because I think a lot of women beat men up and men just take it, because we're supposed to take it.
What do you mean?
Like beat them up emotionally
Okay.
because we don't know how to express ourselves. Because a lot of men don't communicate effectively.
Mhm.
mhm.
So women take advantage of that. Because most women that I know communicate real well
Mhm.
and they know what they want, and most men don't.
Mhm.
So women use it as some women, they use it as a punching bag.
They weaponize that.
Absolutely.
So let me ask you a quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
What, for our female listeners here in the audience, what are some things from a male's perspective that women can do to help facilitate or create an environment to encourage their partner, their male partner to communicate?
That's a great question, Nicole.
That's a
Oh, my goodness.
deficiency.
I think emotional intelligence, having the emotional intelligence, understanding what you're doing before you do it. If for the females that's listening, most of you guys are in therapy. So understand you guys have these different traits and these different practices. All you have to do is listen to your therapist and apply it. It will go a long
Adam,
way.
I see.
What?
Adam,
Adam, okay.
this is what I'm talking about.
The way
Adam's
you
thought
didn't answer the
process is just
question.
the way.
I didn't?
Because
No.
you said accountability is one thing, but you're not taking accountability.
You ain't saying shit, Adam. The fuck? Okay, so the question.
Okay.
Okay.
So if you don't have the tools to be able to properly communicate, you're a grown ass man. Go find the tools. Just like the woman is in therapy. You do the work to find the tools to help you in that department. Why just rely on someone else to make a safe space
Mhm.
for you
Mhm.
to not be able to express yourself.
Well, and I understand that. That's true. You're right, because everything at the end of the day, it's all about you. How do you react? How do you take account for personal things, and how do you, you look at things? But the reality is, a lot of people are not going to do that, and a lot of these relationships, they've been going on for 10, 15, 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going to change. You know what I'm saying? Most women not going to change. Most men not going to change. That's the reality. I understand in a perfect world, you want a man to be sociable and, have emotional intelligence and be communicative and all that. But in real life, if he or she isn't like that, it's not going to happen overnight. So the thing is, what do you do if you want to maintain the relationship,
Correct.
That's true.
right? So the thing is, what my advice, if you come to me,
if you want to maintain the
if you want to maintain a relationship,
Mm-hmm.
you will either have to deal with it or just suck it up.
Mm.
Or communicate your needs,
But after 20 years, though,
but still
Okay.
communicate your needs. And if you feel like through the communication, assuming it's measured and balanced,
Mhm.
if your needs aren't being met, then make a decision.
Yeah.
Should I stay? Should I go?
Yeah.
most people will what? Stay. Because you know
Or
why?
go.
Or
No, they're not
cheat.
going to
Or
leave.
cheat.
Or cheat.
To bring it full circle.
Thank you.
Right.
Jesus.
Now it goes back to what I said.
Okay.
Now they're willing to compromise. They cheated, and are you willing to compromise to stay?
Well, I don't think it's as black and white as the conversation that we're having, right? I think, everybody has a list of things, right? Nobody we understand is perfect, but where does this certain character flaw fall on your list of must-haves
Mhm.
from a partner, right? And so
Mhm.
if it's very high, then of course it can be problematic if you don't get it. But if it's just like, very low and
Mhm.
there are other things that, are more important to you that this person possesses, then it may be
Right.
something that can be overlooked.
That's where the
So,
compromise comes.
That is definitely the compromise because
Mhm.
nobody at the end of the day is perfect.
Mhm.
But Adam, I see what you're trying to say.
Humble.
Thank you.
I see what you're
Humility. That's
Humility.
humility.
okay, because I think we went all around the world twice
Yes.
and we got there. Humility. What's number 2 on the list?
Adaptability.
Okay. Adaptability.
Being
Can you
able to
elaborate?
adapt.
Okay.
A lot of people can adapt.
Cannot adapt.
Cannot adapt,
Okay.
especially when evolution takes place. When I say evolution, as time goes on, we evolve as individuals, right? Men and women, we evolve, we change. Our body changes, our
But you
job.
just said that we don't change.
No, I'm saying we do what we all do. I'm sorry. I meant to say we all change.
Mhm.
Men and women. People, things change.
Mm-hmm.
The time, space, whatever.
Mm.
All that changes.
Mm.
So the thing is, can you adapt with the time? And most people can't because they're so used to that 20-year-old woman that I first met or that
Yeah.
fine 25-year-old man that I met at the gym,
Mhm.
right? And now you're 50 and you
got
still
ED. And you.
Wait, what's ED?
erectile dysfunction.
Oh.
That dick don't work. What? You don't know what ED is? Oh my goodness. And a lot of women
I
are
don't
dealing
have
with
those
that.
problems. Sorry. I don't speak that
Heather
language.
was like, what is ED?
That's the lengua.
What?
Sorry, guys.
Welcome to our first reel of this
Right.
episode.
What is ED?
Sorry, guys. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But no, that's real.
back to the subject. Okay.
And 70% of women deal with that.
Hmm.
We're not, what, ED?
Yes. And a lot of women are suffering in silence because they are going home to a man that they supposed to be loving. And women, you ain't got to say nothing. You know what I'm talking about. Y'all going home to a limp dick. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Give me your glass. Give me your glass.
I'm just saying. It happens.
Show's over.
I cannot.
So how can you adapt to that? Go ahead and get a finer man. I'm just saying. Go ahead and cheat. Nobody knows. But
First of all,
I don't know if
Where is
I've
this
ever
going?
been rendered speechless.
okay. Wait.
I'm sorry. I
okay.
just went on a rant. I'm sorry.
Okay, you did. Oh my God. Okay.
Bring it back,
Adam.
Kelly. Bring it back.
Okay.
Whew.
But there are medicines for
gosh.
that. So there are medicines from my understanding for ED. So there are ways around that
Yes.
that
for sure.
Yeah, cheating.
people can use
no.
to help get their groove back,
You
right?
compromise and you communicate
Yeah.
and you work with your partner.
Yeah. There are ways.
Yeah, that's perfect. That
there are
sounds good.
ways.
Oh my
Oh my
God.
gosh. Okay.
Wow.
But that okay, so that goes back to the topic that you brought up about this man who said that he left his wife and divorced her
Mhm.
because they went like 2
2
years and
years.
only had sex like 2 times.
Mm.
Right? So his argument was, you know, basically he didn't get married, right? Sex is supposed to be a benefit of marriage, right? Getting married and having a spouse. And so
A way to connect.
a way to connect,
to
a way
ground.
to, I mean,
Mhm.
procreate,
Mhm. So many things.
so many things. So his thing was, I'm here and I am doing all and fulfilling all the duties as a husband, and sex is important to me, and I'm not able to get that from my wife
Mhm.
for medical reasons are one thing,
Mhm.
but because she does not want to, then the question becomes, you know, why am I here? Like, what's the purpose?
Yes.
Mhm.
And then two, maybe from a female perspective, well, what is she not getting? Because for a lot of women, intimacy and sex is more than just physical.
It starts
It's emotional,
Yeah.
right? It starts here
There.
and it kind of works its way down
Okay.
to the middle.
there.
Right. So who's right or who's wrong in that case?
Well,
Right?
Classic case of chicken or egg.
Exactly. Who's right and who's
The
wrong?
woman is wrong.
Okay. Why?
The reason, all right, I ain't gonna say right or wrong. I'm not gonna say that
Mm.
because nobody's right or wrong. It's every situation is different
Yeah.
because a woman might have issues or whatever. But if a woman is capable of having sex with her husband and a man says something by accident from not being emotional intelligent,
Mm-hmm.
come on, man, don't do that.
Don't do what?
Don't hold
Don't
off.
hold off on that because you got all these men out here that's scumbags, and you got a good man that's paying the mortgage, coming home every night, and he says something that you disagree with, so you're gonna hold off? That doesn't make sense to me.
But I mean, so what if it's just a hold off for a night until
Nah,
he-
nah.
No.
2 years?
Right. Right.
Right, but don't
In this particular instance,
if she's holding a grudge, that's a huge
well,
grudge.
maybe
to
she
hold.
doesn't like him. Maybe like he just does not
fill her cup.
fill her cup.
Well, get a
It
divorce.
happens.
Maybe he's not putting it down.
Well, get a divorce.
Okay.
Y'all know what I'm talking about because I'm pretty sure you guys have homegirls, and the females that's watching, you guys, maybe it's you.
Mm.
Maybe it's you. You saying, you know
Well,
what?
we don't do that. We don't point fingers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Champagne babes.
I'm sorry, guys.
He's new here.
I'm new.
He's
I'm
new
new.
here.
Culturally distinct, not
I'm a
champagne
newbie.
wise.
I'm a
Okay.
newbie.
Right.
Maybe you guys are experiencing what we're speaking of.
Mhm.
And we're just speaking of it because I think past experience or we heard stories.
Mm-hmm.
And this is just what I think from my perspective.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that if you're unhappy in a situation,
Mhm.
right, and you can't fulfill it out and it doesn't work for you, leave.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay to leave and say, you know what, it didn't work for me.
It didn't work.
Mhm.
It didn't work.
Mhm.
It's okay. You're not going to be embarrassed. It's okay. Instead of fronting, wearing your ring.
Dragging it out.
And
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just to be in an unhappy situation.
Yeah.
Being in an unhappy situation
Right.
just to say that you're married,
Yeah.
right? Or doing it for the
Yeah.
kids, right?
Yeah.
That never works either.
And I can personally speak on this, right? Because I do know that doing it for the kids or thinking about kind of the stigma attached to divorce can really influence how quickly or how slowly like you're willing to make a decision. I understand that. But I do also agree that you got to shit or get off the pot
Yeah.
because your own personal happiness is honestly it's paramount. And if you're happy and you have kids, you want your kids to see you happy,
Mhm.
right? And so prolonging, staying in something where you're not feeling joyful or you're
Fulfilled,
feeling
right.
unhappy or unfulfilled, doesn't serve you, nor does it serve your kids. Now, I also know that a lot of women aren't fortunate enough to be as self-actualized as
Yeah.
other women, and so it is
It's
difficult
more difficult
to
yeah.
get yourself out, especially if you do have a man that's paying the mortgage or that is, financially taking care of everything. And you're like, where do I go? What do I do? He'll take my kids from me. 9 times out of 10, these men are not taking the kids. Let me be really clear. They're not
not.
taking their kids. So you don't have to worry about that. What you do have to worry about is who's going to pay for these kids.
Yeah.
And the good thing is that the courts will settle
work
that
it
for
all
you.
out,
They'll
yeah.
do that for you. And God willing, you've made children with a man who absolutely wants to contribute to the livelihood of his children. But please don't think that you're stuck, if you're really not stuck, because there are ways that if you are unhappy and if you are unsafe or you just are miserable, that you can still survive on the other
Yeah.
side.
And I'll say this, it takes a long time to get
get
to
there.
that to
It
get there.
does, yeah.
It takes a very, very, very long time to get there because it's such a final decision.
Mhm.
You want to make sure that, you are making the right decision, because what you don't want to have on the other side of it is regret.
Mm.
And so it does take a while. So
Mhm.
be gentle and kind with yourself
Mhm.
if you are in that position that
Yeah.
you haven't made up your mind yet,
Yeah.
because it takes a while.
Yeah.
Now, you did say something in your commentary just a few minutes ago about you have a man coming home. That was actually on my list.
Mhm.
And I think that, everybody is like, oh, that's the bare minimum, your man should come home. But at the end of the day, that's not always the case.
Not all men come home.
It's not the case more often than not,
Mhm.
especially when you have a man who is successful, who
Mhm.
has the means and the luxury of
Mhm.
going and doing
Coming and going as he
and
pleases.
whatever he wants to do.
Mhm.
But that accountability for family and himself as the head of household, that he will not disrespect the home
Mhm.
by not coming home,
Mhm.
is something that I think people take for granted.
Mhm.
Because that, in a situation, in my opinion, is not a given. It's just not a given.
Mhm.
And I think, for a lot of women, that is their reality.
Yeah.
Right? Your man leaves and you don't know where he go. He's gone for a few days.
What?
What?
Days?
Where?
So I have a question.
Where are you? What are you doing? Personal freedoms in a relationship is great. You should have a life outside of your partner. You should allow your man to
Yep.
have his friendships and his
Mhm.
life outside of you. And you, on
And
the
you
other
should
hand,
have
should be able to
yours.
have your life
Thriving.
and your things and your interests outside of your
Yeah.
relationship with your man. But at the end of the day, there needs to be boundaries. And the boundaries are, you know what? At this time, we're in a house.
Right. And I don't care how mad you are if you left and we had a spat.
You got
in
into
this
this
house.
house. Exactly.
So I have a question.
What's your question?
So my question is, you spoke on something, a man being successful, right?
Mhm.
And just we're going to determine and define success as a man. Say he makes 400 grand a year.
Mhm.
Something simple, right? Something simple. I'm sorry, well, not simple, but it's success. And he's successful. He has, he's college educated. He takes care of his kids. He takes care of home. I want to ask women this. I ask women this all the time. What benefit do you bring to him that he can't get in the street?
Adam, stop.
Oh my God.
Because here's
that's an honest
the
question, though.
contrarian in you. This is what you do.
I want to ask the question.
This is what you
Asking
do.
the provocative questions.
That's all.
Asking the provocative questions. First of all, this is the Champagne Wives podcast. You're not the one who was asking questions.
You're right. I'm sorry.
We're
I'm
asking
sorry.
these
Right.
questions. Okay.
But it's a real question for women, for the
What?
Champagne Wives.
What?
What benefit or what is the difference that he can't get out in the street that he has at home?
Peace.
Okay.
A woman creates a home. A man builds it.
Okay.
A woman cultivates
I
it.
You
see
better
it.
talk
All
that
right.
talk.
At
All
the
right.
end of the day.
Talk that talk, sis.
All right.
If you have a good
Come
woman,
on, peace. Come on, peace.
I'm just saying, like, every man wants to be able to
Mhm.
come home to a house filled with love.
Especially a successful man.
Especially a
who's dealing
successful
with a lot
man.
of noise on the outside.
In order to be successful, you have to have focus, right? You have to have drive.
Discipline.
You can't be out in them streets every night slinging wood
All
to every little 26-year-old that you see. If you want to be successful as a man, my
Mhm.
understanding is there needs to be a certain level of discipline,
Mhm.
right? And I think
Correct.
what a good woman provides to a successful man is that discipline,
Mhm.
that security,
Mhm.
right? So when he's out there conquering the world, whatever the
Mhm.
case may be, he's coming home to a loving wife, somebody he knows that's going to have his back, who's taking care of his children,
Mhm.
who's taking care of his home, who is a companion for him when he has to go to events or travel, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
he has someone who has his back
Mhm.
and who loves him, for who he is,
Unconditionally.
especially if they were together on the
On
rise.
the come up. Yep.
Exactly.
I like it.
Exactly.
I look. I like it. I
That's
like
the
it.
answer. I have nothing to add to that.
Oh, really?
That's
Oh,
the
wow.
answer.
That was a good answer.
Really
Thank
great.
you, Adam.
That was a good
I
answer.
don't think
Now-
I've ever seen you speechless.
That was a good answer. I
Mhm.
wasn't prepared for that. I thought I was going, hesitate a little bit. Okay.
Adam, you're not gonna cheer me up
Right,
on my
right.
show. Adam.
No.
Not on
Nice
my
try.
show.
Nice try.
What about you, Nicole? Do you have anything on your list? that
Yes, I
you consider
do.
to be important?
So I have several things. So two that stand out. You already mentioned emotional intelligence, Adam. I agree. That to me is an incredibly important skill set to have.
Mhm.
And I think purpose is also underrated. Like a man who is not just focused on being successful, but a man who's focused on moving the needle as it relates to his purpose and
Mhm.
who wants to accomplish something for the greater good. I think that speaks to a man's heart. I think that speaks to a man's character. So purpose is one that I had. Sexual discipline is also one that I had that I think goes back to your questioning just around like what can a successful man get at
Mhm.
home that he can't get in the streets.
Yeah.
I think when you have sexual discipline, the streets won't be tempting.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The streets won't be tempting. You'll recognize that, like, yeah, the streets are there. Yes, the streets are wrought with a lot of
Full.
different things.
Mhm.
Full.
A lot of different things. Maybe something that intrigues you, but maybe something that burns you at the same time.
Literally.
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 So, a man that has sexual discipline and like understands, like even just in the dating phase, that just understands that
Quality
know,
over quantity.
right. But when you're dating, think about this, right? Like you meet somebody, do they physically like respect your space? Like, are they always trying to just like touch you, damn girl, like da 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 da? If on the first date, like they just are looking at you like a piece of meat, like I'm thinking of those Looney Tune characters, right? Like they're just looking at you like a piece of meat, and talking to you like you're a piece of meat. That to me is a huge red flag. And so I think sexual discipline is just really important to have
Yeah.
as a man.
That's scary.
Yeah.
I mean, someone who is undisciplined in that regard.
I'm
I'm not pointing. I'm not pointing.
Oh,
I use hand gestures.
oh,
Right,
okay.
yeah.
I
I
got
use hand
you. Like,
gestures. I mean, that's disgusting to me. And like one thing that was on my list too is hygiene, like personal hygiene. Like I am big on a man having personal hygiene. Like, what's a dead giveaway?
Same.
Dirty fingernails.
Oh.
Oh my God. Look, he looking at his fingernails.
you-
You know what? If your fingernails dirty, I know that you ain't clean.
Mm.
Because why are you walking around here with dirty fingernails?
I got another one too.
I can't.
If
And are
got,
you
like-
in a suit and you don't have on no cologne and you just look and smell dusty? I can't
Yes.
do that. Like I just cannot.
dusty.
For me, it's
A lack of hygiene. That's so underrated.
It's in dental hygiene too.
Oh, dental hygiene.
Like this is actually relevant because I don't know if my algorithm is a little off, but they're talking about how Lamar Odom used to say that like Chloe smelled like earring backs.
Ooh.
Like down in her middle region. She
Mm.
smelled like earring backs. And we
Are
all
you lying?
and we all know the smell, right? We all know
Girl.
the smell.
When you have an innie and it's been sweating in your navel,
Your neighbor used to
Oh.
you're like, damn.
God dang. But he said that like she smelled like earring backs, right? And like Kim one time in an episode went to go hug Lamar and like came back to Chloe and was like, I think Lamar has a cavity. If you have poor dental hygiene,
Mm.
i.e. like you got
Mm.
plaque build up in
build up,
between
yeah.
the bottom teeth or
Yeah.
like to me that's first of all that's a sign that like heart disease is on its way.
Yeah.
Like any dentist will tell you, like if you got that tartar buildup,
Well, it's
like
just like that athlete, that football player who died because he had a cavity that never went untreated. And he
Right.
got sepsis. He got
Yeah.
infected, he got sepsis.
like
he
your
passed
oral
away.
hygiene is directly connected
Yeah.
to your
health.
and
Yeah.
like if you don't care about your teeth, what else don't you care about?
Yeah.
child? your nails, what else don't you care about?
Yeah.
So
Well, this is fun fact. The only reason why men get haircuts, dress up, buy nice houses, buy nice cars is because of women. If they didn't have women on this planet, we would just be out here.
Yeah, but I
Like
think a
cavemen.
lot of
Cavemen.
men haven't
for
gotten
real.
the personal hygiene. And I'm not talking about like going sit up in the nail salon and getting your nails. I'm not talking about like
and
the
if you do that,
the
I'm
Femi
okay with
man.
that. I'm okay if you go get your nails buffed out. Get your cuticles clipped.
I'm not talking about that, but you're okay with that. I'm not talking about that, but okay.
I don't want you here like you
What
know.
happened to the formers? What
But
happened to the
like,
hard
if you get you get your feet scrubbed,
yes,
is that a problem?
I don't like it necessarily. Like but I don't dislike it either. Like
Mhm.
I don't, I'm indifferent. Let's
Okay.
say that I'm indifferent.
Fair.
What happened?
What I am talking about is just personal hygiene. I
Mhm.
think a man should be
Take a bath,
clean.
basically.
Yes,
Take a bath.
I'd be clean. Take a bath. Keep your nails clean.
Mhm.
Not necessarily having to be at like a nail salon, but do it yourself is easy.
Floss.
Floss,
Brushing
exactly.
our teeth at
Brushing
least
your
twice a day.
teeth,
Scraping our
showering,
tongue.
smelling good, and just
Mhm.
looking clean. There's some people that just, look clean. They shine.
Mhm.
That's what I'm talking about from a hygienic standpoint. But yeah, that was one that
On
was
your list?
I think it's underrated because to your point, people expect men to just be whatever. Like I'm here, caveman. I'm just
Mhm.
working hard.
Well, I'm really happy that like we have seen a lot more of a push from a product standpoint just on like male hygiene. Like I remember when Axe came out, it was like revolutionary,
Mm,
right? Like the Axe body spray
like the
and
Old Spice.
Old Spice.
Mhm.
Like I'm so happy that that's now popular. Now,
Yeah.
if someone comes through smelling like Axe, to me it just smells like dirty white man.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Ooh.
I went to a PWI. I
Ooh.
could say this. Like
Okay.
I went to a PWI. I know the smell. I'm familiar.
Okay.
But like it stinks. It smells like
yeah.
frat boy, white frat boy. And it's just
Yeah.
like, okay, that's a cover up. But like it's still like I think the more evolved version of it, yes, is a man who's wearing a cologne. A
Cologne.
distinctive cologne where we
Mhm.
can be like, oh, that's Burberry or that's whatever.
Yeah.
That's Creed, etc.
I don't know. A lot of men should know this though. Like cologne, I think turns women on. Like
Mhm.
if a man smells good,
Mm.
that's such a
Mm.
huge turn
Mm.
on.
Really?
Yes.
And I
take
think-
it from a woman's perspective.
I agree.
A
And I-
nice cologne when a man smells good,
Epic.
and it's not too much. Like you're not soaked in cologne, and
Right.
it's too strong. But if it's just like a little whiff
Epic.
after you walk by,
Mhm.
that is really sexy.
And I think men, if I could give one piece of advice to any of our male listeners and or watchers, make sure that you are getting cologne, not that you just think smells good, because understand that your nose is different than our nose. And like what we're attracted to
true.
as women is different than what you would be interested in as a man.
Yeah.
So I would ask a woman perfume salesperson, how does this smell? Which perfume do a lot of women, or cologne, I'm sorry, do women come and buy for their
Yeah.
men? Because you might think that this rugged bear smell is everything. And when we smell it, we're just like,
Woof.
Jesus, can't wait till
Right.
he washes that off.
That's true.
So just
That's
keep
a good
that in
point.
mind. Just a
Yeah.
little bit of advice.
My husband asks me that every time he buys cologne.
Mhm.
Like, how do you like it?
Right.
How do you
Mm.
like it?
Comes back with the little stick or little
Mhm.
sample.
Yeah.
What happened to the blue collar construction tree digging man that
Tree
had
digging.
the pheromones that attracted the women because he's just a manly man. He had dirt on his skin, on his jeans. He came home as a hardworking man. Now you guys want these new age soft,
Soft.
No.
smelling good, beautiful nails. Y'all turn them to
We
women.
didn't say beautiful nails. We just
Yeah.
said clean nails.
Clean nails. I don't need you having the
Nicole.
grit and grime of the world. underneath your
Cuticle
nails.
done, and now they gonna get the what they call it, the what's the little stuff they put on top?
I don't know.
No,
that,
no,
I,
we're
so
not
I
talking
just
about
said, I
top
don't need my
coat.
man in a nail
Yeah.
shop.
We're not talking about
That's why I
top
just
coat.
said that. But nothing's wrong with a hardworking man.
Mhm.
But they also know how to come home and take a shower and wash the day off of them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, are you going to sleep like that? Are you going outside working for 10 hours plus in the damn oil fields and then coming home and getting in bed? I
hard
think
no.
not. Right.
hard no.
No, I was just saying it's
Exactly.
a difference between hardworking, taking a bath, versus being so clean. I think, and I have a theory about that too. I think I call it the big city theory,
Mhm.
because when you go to big cities like a Houston, Dallas, New York, LA, these men have to apply to certain
Standards.
versus being in the country or country area where they don't have to do that.
That's not true. My dad is very clean, like very clean. My dad works at a plant,
hmm
retired, but my dad he takes very I mean he takes pride in personal hygiene. Like my dad, his clothes are nice, they're ironed, they're clean. He's clean. He puts his lotion on. He like my dad, and he is
My daddy too.
he's as country as it gets. But personal hygiene. I mean, his hair is always cut. I mean, he's aging, so he's losing his hair. But my dad, no, my dad definitely took a rugged man, hardworking man, worked with his hands, but at the end of the day, personal hygiene was very important to him. Yeah.
Shout out to the hardworking men.
Shout out to y'all. They all are. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Shout out to y'all. So I had one last one
Yes, ma'am.
on my list that I think is very important, an underrated characteristic is if a man or when a man takes care of his parents and cares for his parents.
Yep.
I think that is so, I don't know. I think it's so sweet. Not in like a creepy type of way where like you allow your parents to like, control or dictate your life. But a man who is going to show up and be there for his parents when they need them will definitely show up and be there for you. And so I would warn against if your man is talking shit about his mama.
They in a fight for 20 years. They ain't
talking. Like, just beware, because if you can't have a connection to the woman who brought you into this world, I think it's, in my opinion, it would be hard. It's for anyone flaw to connect with a woman. If you're not even connected to the woman who brought you into this world. So
I agree.
I think it's underrated. And I know, and I'll just speak from my own like personal experience or testament, like it can be like, okay, when you're the girlfriend and you see the heavy level of involvement, it can kind of feel like it maybe a competitiveness or, you want to be, I don't know, first place or whatever the case may be, or you want somebody to like prove their loyalty to you, but that's not cute.
No,
it's just not cute. And I think that a lot can be said for someone, a man specifically, who is kind and respectful to his parents, particularly his mom. I just think it's the sweetest relationship, and that's a sure way that you can know that he'll do the same for you. Endearing relationship. It's really sweet. It's really sweet to watch, and sure enough, again, it has always proven to me that the same way that they look after and are there for their loved ones, their mom, their parents.
It's important.
That's how they're going to be there for you, and in every situation that has been the case.
God willing.
Yeah.
I had one last one. I'll make it quick because I really want to get into what's popping. And who else better to get into what's popping with other than Mr. Culturally Distinct himself? How do they fight? We've talked about this before. And social media, as I always say, will glamorize toxic love. It's not cool. Like, toxic love ain't it. Healthy love, balanced love, measured love, and balanced fighting and fair fighting is what it is. And so I don't want. Oh God!
Don't do me. Do not do me, Adam.
There's another one here that we could split if you want. But yeah, how they fight? Do they fight healthy? Do they fight fair? We don't need, if we're in a fight or we've had a spat, you leaving and disappearing and having me wonder where you are. Are you alive? Are you well? Are you safe? No, we communicate. We take moments to make sure that we know how what you've done has affected me and how what I've done may have affected you, and we work towards a resolve around that. Like, we are emotionally intelligent enough to be able to communicate our concerns, our needs, and willing to compromise to work through those issues. So I know people are like, well, I love the passion and the fire. Nah, sis, that ain't it. I'm telling you, it's not it. We talked last week about nachos flying across the kitchen.
Across the kitchen.
That's not it. fighting fair is so important, and seeing how a person fights, and assessing if that's the way that like you respond and that you're able to move forward is really important.
What are your thoughts on that, Adam?
Well, having a relationship with your mom,
No, the fighting.
I mean,
fair fighting.
fair fighting.
fair fighting with your mate,
Yeah.
or just I think a man would never win. A man would never win when he's arguing with a woman. He would never win. So a wise man,
Not true.
a wise man would never get into it with a woman because he would never win. Because a woman will always have the last word.
Okay.
Always. If you're wise. Now, if you're foolish, you're gonna keep going back and forth. Now, when it comes to physical, that's different. He's a coward. I don't
Right.
approve of that. But if you going back and even if you're going back and forth verbally with a woman, that's a problem somewhere.
But why is it back and forth? Why can't it be, you know what? You said something that really bothered me, or as I like to say, you said something that hurt my feelings, and you come back and say, I didn't know that hurt your feelings. I'm so sorry. Or not even I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that it hurt your feelings. Why did it hurt your feelings?
Mhm.
And we are having a dialogue, aka a back and forth.
Right.
Why is that problematic? Why would a man never win if he brings reason and logic to the conversation, and a woman brings reason and logic to the conversation, and they're calmly having a discussion about something that they don't see eye to eye on?
So that's different. That's having effectiveness. You're being effective in your communication.
But that's what we're talking about.
No, but I thought
He
you
just
guys
said men don't know how to communicate.
earlier. Yeah, when I
Earlier he
said
said that men don't know how to communicate.
So
and
the
express
problem is
themselves.
men.
in somewhat.
Okay.
It's both parties, but most men do not know how to communicate
Mhm.
effectively. It's either yes, no, I'm good, I'm
Mhm.
fine, okay, cool.
It's true.
Mhm.
Versus saying this is how
Hey,
this
is-
makes me
this really
feel.
hurt me. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel this way when you do X, Y, and Z.
That's
Yeah.
the emotional intelligence.
Correct.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That's a good point.
Yeah.
we got to work with our men.
Absolutely. Patience.
Patience. We got to emulate the behavior that we want to see. It sounds
Absolutely.
like
Well, that's
Yeah.
real. That's a real one.
model the behavior that we want to see.
Mhm.
Cause I'll tell you, I got a trick to the trade. I'll tell you about that one afterwards. But model the behavior you want to see.
Yes.
And men and women are going to model things differently, but at the end of the day, model the attributes and the traits that you want to see
Yes.
in the outcome.
Be the change you want to see.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So we go.
Hallelujah.
Okay.
We go.
How-
Well, listen. Don't let him get on the train. Choo choo.
Not be the change you
Okay.
want to see, child. Okay.
Adam, we're gonna transition to what's poppin'.
What's popping?
You might recall this segment of the show from when we were in the studio. We were in the studio with you. So I don't know if you brought a what's poppin' topic. I think we have enough time for you to speak to one. I'll speak to one. And
I think two.
Two?
would be good. I don't have one.
okay, so then we're good.
you
Okay.
you have one.
I have one.
Adam, I know you do.
hmm
Always have them.
I know.
Okay, so
Let's get into what's
let's let you
popping.
have the floor.
Well, I don't know if it's what's popping, but it's more of a election. It's coming up.
It's a PSA. Okay.
The PSA, the election is coming up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one, shout out to the Trump supporters. The
Cut.
Trump with the new sneakers that came
Episode
out.
is over.
know.
Hold on, I'm not gonna even let you finish.
And if you got your shoes on pre-order,
he does.
They was out of
The gold
order. I
ones,
didn't get
the
them.
$300 ones.
they're
Nah,
like
but-
the Omega sneakers with an American
The Trump
flag.
Supremes.
Jesus.
Oh.
My God.
Nah, but election time is coming up, and right now the primary person on the Republican side is Donald Trump, as you guys know. And on,
He hasn't won the
He is
nomination
not.
yet.
Nikki
But
Haley
he-
is still fighting
but
a
he's
fight.
gonna win. Y'all know
She's
that.
fighting a good fight.
Mhm.
And President Joe Biden is going to, of course, on the Democratic side. So the talk is saying that Joe Biden won't have the energy to make it. So Kamala Harris
Ugh.
is alleged supposed to be the next president, and I don't
Y'all
think.
gonna kill this man off?
Well, he's 98 years old or something
He's
like
not
that.
98.
Right?
Stop it.
Oh. Wow.
What's popping?
What's popping? Literally, right?
For real.
Oh my gosh, that was scary. You want some?
Yeah. So,
Sure.
yeah. So I'm thinking that Donald Trump is going to be our next president for 2024. I'm not.
Adam,
I'm not
why
saying
do
that.
you really want to talk about this right now, sir?
Well, that's what's popping because
Okay.
it's
No,
coming
I
fast.
don't know if it is.
It's coming real fast.
First of all, it has been indicted, and they tried to get my girl Fanny, but she was not folding.
She
She's
said,
the
I
10
am not
toes
on
down.
trial.
She's the 10 toes down, and she won. So she has not been taken off the case. So we move forward.
Fanny's
and
on the
so,
case.
I don't think that's going to happen, Adam. So this is where me and my friend get into it all the time because
We all.
we joke with him a lot about
A
Trump.
lot of things.
a lot of things, specifically Trump and his just teeter on the Republican line. And
Are you really a Republican?
he's never really confirmed it for me.
Well, I'm
I
gonna
think
say.
he
Can I
does
say?
this.
He's
I think
never
you do this to
confirmed
be
it.
provocative.
He teeter totters on the line too much for me.
Can I
And,
say?
and we get into it all the time
Mhm.
about his
Mhm.
his views. And go ahead, Adam. What you gonna say?
Well, I'm not gonna say I'm Republican. I'm not gonna say I'm Democrat. I'm not gonna say I'm independent. I'm for whoever benefits me.
Mhm.
So I could be a Republic Demo,
I don't know what that
whatever
Right.
it is. I made it up,
Tiger
but
Woods,
I could be that.
Cablinasian.
But
No, Adam.
can I say
Mhm.
this? All the civil rights bills that was passed, you know how they was passed? Through the Republican Party. Now, that's fact. Google that. Second, pro-choice, a religion back in school. Women have rights. These are all Republican views. So I don't understand how. Now, I'm not saying I'm a Republican. I'm saying if we have so many views that give women rights and put religion back in schools and have these modest behaviors, it was all from the Republican Party.
Okay, but the Republican Party has changed a lot throughout the
Thank
years. The Democratic
you.
Party that was in place when the New Deal was signed, the Democratic Party that was in place, that's in place today,
Mhm.
is a different party. Just like the Republican Party that put Lincoln into office and freed the slaves is not the Republican Party that's in place right now. So, that said,
I disagree.
knowing what you know now,
Okay.
do you still stand 10 toes down in those Trump sneakers?
And them gold
the
ones.
gold
And
ones.
them gold sneakers.
So here's what I realized about Trump supporters.
Can't
They
stand
they don't want the truth.
Mm,
They don't want to see a different perspective.
right.
They are really, I guess, held to their own beliefs. And they keep replaying this, oh, there was a Republican Party, it was a Republican Party, it was a Republican Party that did all these things. Well, that is not the same Republican Party that we
Exactly.
see here
Mhm.
today.
Mhm.
The Republican Party that we've seen here today has emboldened and is full of white supremacists. And
Mhm.
the elected officials they may not have those views,
Mhm.
but they rely on those votes. And so they placate to these individuals, which is not okay. And what I also see happening is there has been a completely shift and change in the political face of a Republican. Like
Mhm.
they're dumb.
Well,
They're half dumbed down. Like look at what's her name? Lauren Boebert, for
Mhm.
example, or
Mhm.
Marjorie Taylor
Marjorie,
Greene.
yeah.
This other one what's his name? Not Scalise, the one who lied about his whole resume.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
On Long Island.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
He's gonna allow for a
they are
Democrat to come in.
dumbing down the party to connect with their base. And so I'm afraid about who will eventually get elected. Somebody who could potentially really set us back 100 years.
Kamala Harris.
Not anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's what has happened to the Republican Party is incredibly interesting
Mhm.
for all the reasons that you just cited and for all the reasons that you are purporting here. And if you really think about I won't say what Trump has done, but what the Republican Party has done, and they are using Trump because he's the perfect actor to be
Mhm.
able to create the followership, is they have exploited a group of people, a majority of white people in the US that did not have a voice, that did not feel like they had a voice when Obama was president, that maybe felt like they were a little less than the Bush or the McCain version of a Republican.
It's grievance politics.
Certainly not a Reagan or a Bush the one. And when I tell you people, what pissed off this version of Republicans the most is when Barack Hussein Obama took office 2 times over.
Yeah.
And they had 8 years to fester. And they had 8 years to turn into what they are today. And Trump was the perfect character to step into the role.
Caricature.
To lead. So make the right decision. Vote for the person and the party that resonates.
Best suits you. Correct.
That best suits you and that resonates.
So what's important to you though when you're voting? Like what's important to
for
you?
me, it's
for
more,
you personally?
For me, it's taxes.
It's money.
I don't want to pay taxes.
Money.
Right?
You don't want to pay taxes?
No, I don't want to pay taxes. Like, well, yeah. Who wants to pay taxes?
Okay.
They're taking 1/3 of your money.
Some of the best societies in the world pay sizable taxes and have universal health care.
Yes.
Have very low crime. They can leave the children in freaking strollers in the cold, go and eat and dine, and then come back and the baby's still there. They don't got no Amber Alert system.
Right.
They got public transportation that everybody has access to. They're egalitarian and I don't want to go so far to say socialist societies, but it's because people pay a sizable fraction of their checks.
No, I'm saying it's
and salaries to taxes.
Taxes
for the welfare of everybody.
Taxes are needed. But I'm saying I don't want to pay taxes, especially the more money I make, the more I take. For instance, if I make $250,000 a year, I'm only bringing home in my pocket probably $100,000.
That's not true.
That's unfair, especially if I live in California.
Well, okay, different states.
Versus making $40,000 a year, and you getting all the benefits. I'm not putting the comparison towards the two, but I'm answering the question about why I think vote Republican.
So what's important to you is taxes.
Taxes. Oh, absolutely, saving my money.
Over everything, over the social
welfare and well-being of the rest of the society.
Yeah, over everything, over rights, human rights.
No, human rights. Human rights are important, but you got to understand. First, it starts in your home first, and what's your teachings and what's your morals like, your values, right? A nation can't teach you how to run your home. Right? If you're depending on a nation or a person or a public official to run your home, you already failed already in itself. I'm saying that for me, for Adam Nelson, culturally distinct, this is what I think will benefit me and my household.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
More money.
So two things, right? We're telling people to go and vote, right?
Yes,
do the right thing.
Go vote. Yes.
But a lot of the ability to vote has been taken away from people who look like all of us sitting here today.
True.
Right? So, I mean, I want to tell you to vote, but you might not be able to because of the way that voting rights are being stripped from you. And
Literally.
So if that applies to you, I'm sorry. But that's part of the problem, right? From my vantage point. And I think that voting is personal. Voting is incredibly personal. But I also know that, like, the way that people think in Sweden about the way that the government operates is very different than the way that we think from a capitalistic standpoint here in the US. And I don't know, like, I don't know. This is much longer than we probably need it to be. We're gonna have you back to talk about this because you want some foolishness right now.
Girl, this is our conversations all the time. Like, he posted a story on his page, and he called me, and I was like, "Why the hell did you do that? Like, what are you talking about?"
Have you guys invested in a bunker yet?
Okay, so my topic for what's
popping, Nicole.
This is actually quite interesting. So a lot has happened. I mean, we've been off air for a couple of weeks, but Super Bowl has happened. We talked about the Grammys last time, and want to just kind of bring it full circle. So yeah, Taylor Swift tried to have a moment and talked about how she was releasing an album in one of her acceptance speeches, and we know Beyonce and that hair was there.
Nothing,
but it was Beyonce's hair was. And I stand for her, but it was in the building, which it was looking dry. It was looking overprocessed and dry.
Oh,
and it was
like the platinum?
Yes, and it was just very ironic that she was launching Sacred like a week later.
Yeah.
But that said, Beyonce was in the building. Taylor made that announcement, and I'm trying to run through this quick. But when she said that, everybody was like, it's the worst kept secret, in the industry, we all know. And Beyonce was just quiet and, did her Beyonce clap. And then next week, here comes the Super Bowl. Travis Kelce's playing. We know that Travis is with Taylor for publicity. If you don't think that that's the case,
Right.
get to hip to game. And Beyonce was in a box with Jay-Z
Mhm.
and other celebrities and had her Verizon Super Bowl commercial. And Beyonce is just like, I'm gonna let you have that moment, Taylor, about this album. Well, here we go. We released an Act 2, a country album.
Mhm.
And we're gonna do it at the Super Bowl on a stage that is 10 times
It
bigger
was
than the
most
Grammy stage.
watched Super Bowl in
Ever.
years. Oh,
Ever.
ever? Okay.
Ever.
Yeah, every year. It
Oh,
was.
wow.
And the Super Bowl is televised in over 30 countries. The Grammys does not get televised in nearly as many countries. So if you think about the audience that Beyonce had with this, while Taylor thought she was dropping this bomb, Beyonce was over
That
here
didn't
with
even
the
land, girl.
It didn't even. It was like
It didn't land.
was
No
like a-
one, everybody was like, "Why is she doing this?" Like, what?
we were all like awkward, and
Yeah.
then Beyonce has the biggest stage in the world, and she announces Act 2, and she drops 2 singles that night.
Mhm.
And Beyonce, I just say this, like, keep on keeping on.
Wait, while everybody is playing checkers, Beyonce is playing chess.
Absolutely.
And it just goes back to the conversation that we had last week's What's Poppin',
Mhm.
just about the outnumbering
Mm-hmm.
of Taylor Swift's fans.
Mhm.
It doesn't mean that her contribution to music, or she's a better singer or a better performer. It's just that there are more white people than
The
black
math,
people.
math,
The math
and it works
is
in her
mathing
favor.
in her favor.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at Beyonce, just overall, and just, I don't know, her ability to be strategic and thoughtful about everything that she does
Mhm.
is just completely.
It's
it makes
mind-boggling.
love. It's mind-boggling.
Like it's a
And
master class.
It is. It needs to be a masterclass.
Mhm.
And then when you go online and you look at like all of her supporters,
Mm-hmm.
it's just people from all different backgrounds, all walks of life. It's everybody.
Mhm.
It's just a DE&I
Mhm. It's
of
higher
of
thinkers,
fans,
yep.
of fans,
Mhm.
and it's just it's crazy. Cannot say that I listened to the songs in totality yet,
Right.
but I'm
No.
waiting. I'm waiting for the album. Did you listen?
I listen. Them people ain't gonna let that happen.
They're not gonna let it happen.
No.
Well, they're already saying that like the country stations are refusing
Yeah.
to play her
Mhm.
songs,
Right.
but
But
they'll come around.
and if they
They'll
don't,
come around.
if they don't,
They're gonna have to.
if they don't, I just want to see what Beyonce does. I want to see what the Beehive does, right? Because there are a lot of Black people. It's rodeo season is upon us here in
Yeah.
Houston. There are a lot of Black people that love country. I'm not of this school, but a lot of Black people who love country and are
Yeah.
going to want to understand, and a lot of white people who are part of the diaspora who are going to want to understand why Beyonce's not making it onto these country stations. And if there's a
it's
reason,
gonna put a huge spotlight.
it's going to put a huge spotlight on the industry
And
of country
I
music.
do not
that
think
already-
that is by mistake. I think that's also by
It's just-
design.
yes,
And I also
yes.
think that
It's a part of the
Beyonce
strategy.
is going around collecting genres like
Mhm.
Infinity Stones.
Mhm.
Because
Thanos, huh?
she is claiming
Yes.
all the genres.
And what she's going to do is shed light on where
Mhm.
the
All the
bias is
injustices.
and where all the injustice is. So this is
Mhm.
much bigger. This
Yeah.
is a whole,
yeah.
girl, I see you. We
Right.
see each other. I'm
Right.
so excited for this because I
Yeah.
know this is about to blow up into something, and the country music industry is about to be put on its ass or put on its head, and it's going to be forever changed, or it's going to be marred
Yeah.
by how they handle this body of work that's
Beyonce
about to
coming
drop.
into this
You know why they're
industry.
afraid though, right?
Why?
Because the entry point, if someone of that magnitude goes into country music, they know that now
It's over.
other people coming in that look just like her, and now the people that's been traditionally in that spot will no longer be there.
Because the people who look like her, who have been trying to get in, are fighting for their life right now
Yeah.
to stay
I
in
mean, she's not the only
and to
yeah.
be successful.
Yeah.
Like
But
she's not
there
the first.
Yeah.
She's not the first, but she's about to either break down doorways
wall.
and the walls for
Mhm.
others, or that country music industry is going to be marked as being biased, prejudiced, whatever the case may be. So
Yeah.
this should be very interesting how it
Should
plays
be
out.
Very interesting.
What's the guy name who Country Road, Old Town Road? The
Lil
gay guy?
Nas X.
Lil Nas
He the
X.
one open it up.
I
for us.
mean, but he's
Well, there
blacklisted.
have been others.
Darius Rucker.
Yeah,
to
Darius
that
Rucker.
magnitude.
Da-
Old country.
Darius Rucker.
He's
He's the biggest.
palatable.
He's the
Okay.
biggest
People,
because he's from
like
Hootie and the Blowfish.
traditional fans like him.
Mhm.
Yeah, a lot. He's
Yeah.
like not too.
He's safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
He's safe.
Yeah,
So we'll
So
see
they
how
like
it plays out.
but Beyonce, baby, they gonna
Mhm.
be
They
fighting
ain't ready.
tooth and nails.
Mhm. This is gonna be a fight
Over
of
this.
fights. Okay.
Okay.
So, okay. We got a lot going on. You got a lot going on. Tell the people where to follow you, Adam. How can they tap into what you got going on?
Yeah, we are at Culturally Distinct. So just Google Culturally Distinct. We everywhere. You can find us Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all the platforms. That's where we are, man. You see us, man. Holla at me. Culturally Distinct.
Mm-hmm.
For the people that don't know how to spell, it's C-U-L.
Oh gosh. Okay.
C-U-R-A-L-L-Y.
Do you?
Distinct.
I was say, do you? You
Right.
better not
Right,
misspell
right.
it
Don't
either.
misspell it. You had a lot of champagne in
Exactly.
your glass.
And your look, quote,
Right.
champagne.
And this won't be the last time that you see Adam.
No,
he's gonna be back for sure. But if you are coming to our live podcast episode, Adam is gonna be. He didn't mention this, but Adam is also just an amazing and phenomenal DJ. He knows how to set the party off right.
Mhm.
He's gonna be the DJ. I don't know if he's gonna be the MC because you see how reckless his mouth
He-
is. But he's definitely gonna be the DJ on hand, getting the vibes right for all the folks that come to our live event, which is March 1st here in Houston. Doors open at 6:30. The podcast starts at 7:30. Lots of activations that we're gonna have there. If you haven't gotten your tickets, get your tickets. Links in our bio. We have 5 amazing panelists, dynamic women, attorneys, candidates for political
Doctors.
positions, doctors, women who own publishing companies, financial strategists. We have just a cornucopia, if you will,
I love that.
panel of amazing and dynamic women who have figured out how to pursue their dreams, be mothers, be entrepreneurs, while not losing their sense of selves, and doing it with elegance and doing it with grace. And we're so excited for them to be able to share their stories with you. So make sure you come to Houston. Make sure you're in the building. Like I said, tickets to get access to that event are linked in our bio.
Mhm.
And you can follow us on Champagne Wives Podcast on all the platforms, or just Champagne Wives. As Adam said, Google us. And you can find all the platforms that you can follow us on. So I guess we'll see y'all next week.
That was the plug. First of all,
Was
hold on. Before I
Right.
say, that was the plug.
Was it?
That was the plug. I was waiting for you to throw me the alley-oop, but she didn't even throw it. She took
kept
it.
it.
She took it. She
kept
dunked
She
it.
dunked it by
She
herself.
dunked it by herself. Okay, cheers to you, friend. You did that because I was not ready. You did that.
Listen, that's that yin and that yang that we were talking about
Baby,
last
you did it
week.
because I was just like, oh, I hope she don't look at me to contribute nothing to this conversation because I ain't got it.
you. I got you. This is the mouth and the brain of a refresh and relax.
Baby, fresh
Living,
off
child.
of vacation.
Fresh off the
You
beach.
did that. Anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Y'all go check out Adam.
Please.
Culturally Distinct. I know he
Doing big
look,
things.
this has been my friends for 20 plus years. I know he's controversial, but he has the best and the biggest heart.
Mhm.
And we love him. So thank you, bro, for being here.
Thank you
And we
so
will
much,
see you
Adam.
guys
Love
next
you.
week. Same time,
Same
same place.
place.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.